Good morning, students. Let's continue the lesson. Today, we are going to see about the topic globalization in India, which means it is a process of integration of a country through trade system. In India, the period after 1980 to 1981 was marked by severe balance of payment. For the main reason is hike in oil price. For increasing oil price and Gulf War in 1990 to 1991 and hostilities in West Asia. So the new government took over in June 1991. India had unprecedented balance of payment crisis and the government mortgaged 40 tons of gold to the Bank of England. Under that, the government for 1991 to 92, they presented its budget in July 1991 and with the series of policies changes with the globalization, liberalization and privatization. This is a policy was strengthened when India signed the Dankel draft in 1994. And next we will see globalization in India, which means it is a process that encompasses the causes and consequence of transnational and transcultural integration of a human and a non-human activity. Encompasses means hold within the causes and a transnational means operating across national boundaries. Transcultural means involving more than one country. And now we see what is balance of payment, which means a country is the record of all economic transactions between the residents of the country and the rest of the world in a particular period of time. This is the balance of payment, which eradicate the problems of trade system. And next, we see the topic is reforms made to adopt globalization in new economic policy in India. Okay, we see what are they. Number 1, abolition of industrial licensing except for a few industries. For the reason is India is striving for industrial development of the country soon. After the independence in 1994 and since the inception of a new economic policy in 1991, India opened most of the industries for the private players. As of now, industrial licensing has been abolished for all industries except few. And another one is reduction in the number of industries reserved for public sector. According to consistent with the policy of liberalization of domestic industries, the number of industries reserved for public sector have also been reduced. During 2014, private investment in rail infrastructure has been permitted. Consequently, at present only 2 industrial sectors and reserved for public sectors. And a third one is fixation of a realistic exchange rate of rupee to exchange export of Indian goods. It is the government or the central bank of a country may decide to fix the rate at some levels that suit the economic situations. For example, the government may decide to fix exchange rate at rupees 75 while the real condition in the economy and foreign exchange market may put the rate at rupees 70 only. And the fourth one is foreign private sector by making rupee convertible on trade, on current account and by reducing import duties. It means the current account convertibility is defined as the freedom to buy and sell foreign exchange. Was also to make the foreign exchange available at low prices for making essential imports. And the foreign exchange regulations were suitably amended, which means this regulation are amended from time to time to incorporate the changes in the interbank foreign exchange dealings. And at last is the statutory liquid ratio LSR was reduced to increase lending by RBI. According to the statutory liquid ratio, that means the LSR is fixed for a number of reasons by reducing the level of liquid ratio, and the RBI means Reserve Bank of India, can increase liquidity with the commercial bank resulting in the increased investment. This is done to fuel growth and demand compelling the commercial banks to invest in government securities like government bonds. These are the reformers made to adopt globalization in new economic policy in India. And now let's we see the topic is MNC, multinational corporation. Multinational corporation is a corporate organization which owns or control production of goods or services in at least one country other than its home country. Evaluation of MNC, like the East India Company, which came to India as a trading company and then its net throughout the country to become politically dominant. These multinationals first start their activities in extractive industries of controlled raw materials in the host countries during 1920s and then slowly entered. And now let's we see the topic is growth of multinational corporations in India. A common form of multinational corporations participation in Indian industry is through entering into cooperation with Indian industrialists. Trends of liberalization in the 1980s gave a substantial spread to foreign collaboration. Now we see what are all the reasons for the growth of multinational corporation. Number 1, expansion of market territory. Which a business can be increased in a market. Market expansion is a strategy of expanding the market size by focusing on different segments of consumers. The potential of a market expansion strategy depends on the size of the new market that a business is trying to enter in the new way. And the next one is marketing superiorities, which means superiority in customer relationship, management consequence for competitive advantage and performance. And another one is financial superiority. It is most important one. It has been financial resources and a high level of funds utilizations. It has easier access of external capital market because of its international reputation. It is able to raise more international resources. And another one is technological superiority. The main reason why multinational corporations have been encouraged by the underdeveloped countries to participate in their industrial development is on account of the technological superiorities which these firms possess as compared to national companies. And that last one is product innovation. It is most important one is the creation of subsequent introduction of a goods and services that is either new or an improved version of previous goods or services. These are all the main points of reason for growth of multinational corporation. And now we see the next topic is advantages of multinational corporation. Producing the same quality of goods at lower cost and without transaction cost. It is related to quality of goods. And another one is multinational corporation reduce prices and increase the purchasing power of consumers worldwide, which means purchasing power is the value of currency which is expressed in terms of amount or money of goods or services that one unit of money can buy. Purchasing power is important because all else being equal, inflation decreases the amount of goods or services you could be able to purchase. And the next one is a multinational corporation is able to take advantage of tax variation. It is established operation in many different countries. A multinational is able to take advantage of tax variations by putting in its business officially in a nation where the tax rate is low, even if its operations are conducted elsewhere. And at last one, suffering job growth in the local economics. And now we see what are all the advantages of multinational corporations. There are a way for the corporations to develop a monopoly for certain products. They are also a detrimental effect on the environment. And the introduction of multinational corporation into a host country's economy may also lead to the downfall of smaller or local business. A multinational corporation breach ethical standards, acquiescing them, evading ethical laws of leveraging their business agent with capital. And let's we see fair trade practices on World Trade Organization. What is fair trade? According to fair trade is an organization, social movement and market-based approach that aims to help producer in developing countries obtain better trading condition and also promoting substantiability. Okay, now we see what are the reasons and objectives. Raising and stabilizing the incomes of small scale farmers, farm workers and artisans. It is an equal exchange, more importer and producer groups sourcing from small farmer and also artisans. Artisans means a person who make things skillfully. And the next one is more equitably distributing the economic gains, opportunities and the risk associated with the producing and the sale of these goods. And increasing the organizational and common capacity of producer groups. Level of organization, what grade of business organization each player has And the type of income gains, increased volume, improvement of product quality, and opening new market also. Promoting labor rights and the right workers to organize. That means the right to organize and form employers and workers. Organization is the prerequisite for sound collectively bargaining and social activities. Promoting safe and substantial farming method and working condition. Substantial farming method means it is a type of agriculture that focuses only producing long-term crops and livestock while having minimal effects on the environment. This is a type of agriculture try to find a good balance between the need for food production and also the preservation of ecological system within the environment. And now we see the topic is principles of fair trade organization. Creating opportunities for economical disadvantaged producers. Transparency and accountability. Accountability means the fact or condition of being accountable. And the fair trading practices and payment of fair prices. Ensuring no child labor and forced labor. Commitment to non-discrimination, gender equity and freedom of association. And providing capacity building and promoting fair building. Respect for the environment. These are all the points coming under the principle of fair trade organization. And now we see the topic is GATE, General Agreement of Trade and Tariff. It is a legal agreement between many countries. Those who are all purpose was to promote international trade by reducing or eliminating trade barriers such as tariff. Tariff means tax. This is one of the agreement which is organized by multinational corporation. GATE was signed by 23 countries in 1947. In the seventh round, 99 countries participated. The Director General of GATE, Arthur Dunkel, came up with a draft final act known as Dunkel Draft, was approved and signed. GATE's primary purpose was to increase international trade by reducing various tariff, quotas, and subsidies while maintaining meaningful regulations. And World Trade Organization. It is the only international organization dealing with the global rules of trade. The signing of a final act of Rouge Round by member nations of GATE in April 1994 paved the way for setting up of World Trade Organization. The World Trade Organization agreement came into force from January 1, 1995. The present membership of World Trade Organization is 164 countries. This is a contract which is signed by the multinational corporations. And now we see some of the objectives of coming under the World Trade Organization. See what are they? To set and enforce rules for international trade. To provide a form of negotiations and monitoring further trade liberalization. To resolve trade disputes. Introduction, the substantial development and environment can go together. To ensure the developing countries secure a better share of growth in world trade. And now we see the topic is trade related aspect of intellectual property. It is an international legal agreement between all the members nations of the World Trade Organization. So, let's see what are all the rights. Intellectual property right may be defined as information with a commercial values. Under TRIPS, patents shall be available for many inventions, whether product or process, in all fields of industrial technologies. TRIPS agreement covers 7 areas of intellectual property rights. Let's see what are the properties. Copyright, trade market, trade secrets, industrial design, geographical appellations, integrated circuits and patents. And now we see the impact and challenges of globalization. Positive impact. A better economic introduce rapid development of the capital market, highly increased, and standard of living has increased. Globalization rapidly increase better trade so that more people are employed. Negative impact. Too much flow of capital amongst countries. Introduce unfair and immoral distributors of income. Another fair is losing national integrity. And now we see what are the challenges of globalization. The benefits of globalization extend to all countries that will not happen automatically. The fear that globalization loads the instability in the developing world. The industrial world that increased global competition will lead in a race to the bottom in wages, labor rights, and employment practice. It leads to global imbalance. Globalization has led to environmental degradation. Okay, thank you students. In this session we have learned what are all the objectives of World Trade Organization and what are all the things which you have done in globalization in India and what are all the principles of fair trade practices and World Trade Organizations, and we also learn about what are the reason for the growth of multinational corporation. Thank you.